Hi folks, before I get back to my rereads with the big book everyone knows is coming, my friend author sent me 2 books to review, and well, I don't know if he sent me them to review, but he gave me the Jedi Path. And he thought, you know what, I know you don't want it, but here it is. Now, regardless of whether he knows this or not, I have read it before. This kind of counts as a reread, but I figured this is a guide more than a story. Now, that's not to say there are elements of this story. This takes place, Luke found this, I'm guessing after the Bantam era, but before New Jedi Order. And he's basically talking about a bunch of things. Dan Wallace knows the EU. He intertwines the EU into these. It's funny because my copy, even though it didn't have the Legends banner over it, it was a reprint from Disney Lucasfilm. And it is rife with EU commentary or connections, I should say, in it. And some commentary from the EU as well. Thame Cerulean was Dooku's master. I must have missed that when I read it the first time. To my defense, I read this in a Books-A-Million or Barnes & Noble years ago over the summer. My family, or my brothers, my wife, and whatever, they'd go to this Books-A-Million or Barnes & Noble where they'd stay for like over an hour. And I'd be like so bored. So I remember I got a copy of the Jedi Path, started reading it, wasn't interested in buying it. And then every time we went somewhere, I'd pick up where I left off. I knew exactly where I'd left off and got that read. That's how I read this book the first time in kind of pieces, which you can because it's different subjects, each one. Luke starts off with a preface about who owned this prior to finding him, and then all these other people, Thame, Dooku, Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and so Anakin and Ahsoka, and so everyone's going to be writing their little scribbles in it. But it talks about Jedi initiates, what they go through, how they join a clan, what type of clans there are. It breaks down the Jedi mantra about the Jedi rankings, what the rankings are, Padawans. It breaks down all the Padawans, the Agricor, where Jedi go, and then other fields of interest where Jedi can go as well, which I found interesting. It talks about the Jedi trials, what are they, how to pass them. It talks about aliens that are resistant to the Force. Now Here's what I think is a contradiction. If Qui-Gon Jinn read it, which is what we're told, then how come he doesn't read the part where Troidarians are immune to mind control or whatever, Jedi mind tricks? Because in episode 1 he's trying to trick him and it doesn't work. But yet in the book it says Troidarians. There's not that many aliens, they say, are immune to the Force. I want to say it's like 5. So did Qui-Gon just forget that part? See what I mean? I really don't like all the little scribbled contents, but I'm not done. I'm going to get to that later. I want to talk about all the things that are in the book, because there's a lot of great things. There's a lot of references to the EU. Dawn of the Jedi is mentioned a lot in this one. A lot of the Bantam era adventures. Tales of the Jedi is mentioned. The Lando Calrissian trilogy. Stuff from the Lando Calrissian trilogy gets in there. Split of the Mind's Eye gets in there, shockingly. Video games, comic books, stories from the RPG. Does Mace, I think Mace Windu is, I can't remember if Mace is in this one or in the Book of the Sith, but Mace makes some comments too. But you're looking at all of these things it's talking about. It's talking about what a Jedi Knight can do, all the Jedi powers, all the forms of lightsaber. And so for like a compendium of everything Jedi, it's good. But here's why I still don't like it. I hate the comments. I hate them all. I hate them all. Because I don't think people would write in a book that's that important, especially like Luke, and why would everyone else be taking a library book and making notes in it? When did you take a library book? Even for school, some people underline stuff, maybe, but writing in it? No, I don't think anyone would take an ancient text and write in it. This is an ancient text, right? We're told it's I think a millennium old or something like that. So I don't get it. I don't like it. It's like watching a decent movie, watching a good movie, I should say, with everyone talking during it. And it just pisses you off at the end. I really hate that. It is a distraction to it because you feel like you have to read it because they've underlined or circled something. You're like, what are they going to say here? And it's nothing. Usually Anakin's is always like, what's wrong with fighting with a lightsaber? What's wrong with getting your way and bullying away? What's wrong with being on the dark side, basically is what he's saying. Like, we get it. You're going to go evil. And then Ahsoka's always like, Sky Guy. She says, I'm Sky Guy. And, wow, Master, I really wish you had read this with me, or you would have been different with me, or oh man, I want to be a Jedi ace pilot when I'm done with the Clone Wars. Of course, Ahsoka just bothers me as is. But I really don't like the scribbling. Like I said, someone talking during a good movie ruins the movie, and all those scribbles ruin it. Ruin it for me. Not to mention the whole thing where Qui-Gon may have read it and then missed the part where one of 5 aliens which are immune to Jedi mind tricks, maybe he skipped that part. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. And then, of course, Dooku making his little comments. Yes, Dooku, you're about to go evil. We know this. And then Ahsoka reminding us stuff he's done in the Clone Wars. A lot of that's done for continuity, but there's just so many things. Like I said, I guess they thought when writing the book, they went, this is too boring. You got to add all these little scribbles in it to make it entertaining and fun, or else no one's going to read this. No, I think people would have bought this as is. And if it was a book as is, I'd say get it. Now, I will tell you this, though. A lot of this stuff I already knew because it is in Ryder Wenham's Jedi versus Sith. Now, again, I mean, that's just because we're talking about the same subject, right? The Jedi. So not everything, but a lot of it. The things I really enjoyed about Jedi initiates and what they go through, and Jedi Padawans and Jedi Knights and the stuff through that, that's great. That's great. For if you want something, just about learning about the Jedi, it's a light read, a lot of pictures, little words, and that's fun. So yeah, it's great for anyone's collection. Not really for mine. Now, author, don't worry, I'm keeping it. Thank you. I'm keeping it. I'm doing this review for you. But that is the reason why. And I'm glad I got to reread it too, because I was like, okay, you know what? Again, resetting my mind, going through it, saying maybe it wasn't that bad. And then, just 20 pages into it, I was like, yeah, I know why I didn't like this. Or I didn't want it for my collection. But for anyone who wants to get it for their collection, go right ahead, especially if you love the Jedi. All right, so it's fun. All right, folks, that's it for now. See you next time.